What's up, everybody? It's your favorite defender of the universe's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Blitzway Voltron. A lot of hype around this piece. A lot of people have been following it for a mighty long time. This is on loan to me from Matt J. I should say Matthew J, because that's what his name is on his profile that he DM'd me from. Why do I always want to give somebody a nickname? What's funny is I really want to call the dude Matty J, because I think it sounds cool. But that's not how I would be pissed if I wrote somebody and I was like Bobby, and then they did a review and it was like Robert Skullface. I gotta be more respectful. So Matthew J sent this to me very graciously and took full liability, which is even more becoming of him. Love to hear it. So we are going to take a look at it. Couple things I want to get right out of the way. It's a very expensive piece. So I've put down a little bit of a different cover because there is some balance issues and I'm trying to give it all the support it can muster. Also, there are some gimmicks in electronics, but there are protective pieces in place of them. I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to remove them or not in order to get the gimmick off for the camera. Time will tell. And we are going to go through this kind of as meticulously as possible because even though I usually only do Transformer reviews on this channel, I have done Voltron reviews on this channel kind of since the beginning. So I'm keeping that consistent. If you want all the other reviews, that's where it's on Patreon. But I think this is the third or fourth Voltron that I've looked at on the channel. Just like sometimes I do like the mech stuff or whatever. So with that being said, we are going to take a look at this guy, but in order to do so, we are going to start with accessories. He, of course, comes with his sword. It is decoed beautifully. We have the chrome blade with beautiful sculpt work down it, as well as the cross that's kind of sculpted and painted in there as well with silver and gold, and then the red accents and the kind of glossy blue plastic and stuff. Fantastic. The sword pegs into the jaw, inside of the jaw of the lion with a tab, and the peg is right there, but with very minimal manipulation it will come loose. Also, of course, he comes with his shield, or it might even be more than that, to be honest. I don't really recall. Chrome, beautifully done. The gold, beautifully done. The red, beautifully done. This metallic blue, which I wish we saw a little bit more metallic colors, also beautifully done. Keep in mind that this handle swivels both at the base where it pegs in to the shield, and also where the handle is. That will help you make connections in robot mode, which we'll look at right now. The shield also pegs in to the jaw of the lion in the same manner that the that the sword does, but it's a little bit trickier to kind of get in and out. But the good news about that is it means that he will hold it better than he does the sword. He comes with two swords. Voltron can hold either one of them separately, but of course, in typical Voltron manner, they also combine. Which I'm having a really hard time doing because I got my mask on because of all this chrome stuff. But there you see it. You see it. You heard the name, now meet the man. And that pegs into the lion's mouth the same way as the large sword or the shield. Once again, it's a little bit more challenging with the green lion. And real quick, just so you know I'm not lying, there he is. Lion, come on, I'm good at this. But just so you know I'm not fibbing, there he is holding both swords. So you get the red lion's weapons. The only one that's really worth talking about is this one with the nice red and then the gold accents and then the silver blades. These two bits are sculpted well enough, but they're just straight plastic. And you can peg those weapons into any of the hip joints. And then the blade pegs into the mouth, the same as the sword or shield. Blue lion, same deal, plastic bits here, and then this actually has some detailings with a nice metallic silver as well. And once again, they peg into the shoulder joints and his mouth clamps down on his weapon. Yellow lion, same thing, plastic bits, sculpted well enough. Be careful taking this out of the storage areas, which we'll show here in a bit. It's hard to get a grip on some of this stuff, and there's some thinner pieces of plastic, so be mindful of that. Then the yellow looks good with the metallic silver. And once again, these peg into the shoulder bits, and then the mouth clamps down on the yellow weapon. Green lion, same deal. This one, be specifically careful about pulling out of the packaging. It's very easy to damage this one. A lot of thin little spiky bits. Same with this one, the little antenna here, and then you have the green with the metallic silver. And mounted onto the shoulders, of course, rear hips as well as possible. And then you have this one that actually plugs into the upper part of the jaw. And lastly, the black line comes with the two kind of missile pods there. Once again, just straight plastic. And then we have a lot of detailings here with the blue, black, gold, and then the silver metallic. Same here. You can plug this in will get him to clamp down with his teeth, and then these plug into the combiner ports. You also get a screaming face with the blue, black, gold, and metallic silver paint on it, and it's done quite nicely. And all of the smaller weapons, the face, etc., can all fit and plug into the base underneath the kind of like secret compartment there. So that's very cool. It comes with a very classy base. It's black, it's matte. We have a little bit of gloss on the cross and crown. It's just sleek, sharp, and classy. It's the only way I know how to describe it. It's very, very well thought out for a display purpose. They also give you these translucent flight stands that are all color coded, which is nice. So obviously blue, yellow, red, green, and then white for the lead lion. Very well thought out. All of them slide into the base in 2 different ways. And this is a little bit more suited for robot mode. And you can also peg him in his crotch area on the middle post if you so desire. And then you can have the armatures the other way and display them more so in cat mode. And it is pretty impressive to kind of see that, like with them all kind of in action. It is really good looking, I must admit. You also get some translucent pieces. If you take this piece and you take this adapter that's kind of like a 45-degree angle, or I guess 45 past 9, I don't know, what am I, a geometrist? Put this in there, and then take the other side and tab it in there, and you'll be able to store your sword right there on the stand, which is nice as well. The same thing kind of goes for the shield as did the sword. You could take this other adapter piece, plug it into the handle that plugs into the hand, and then you can plug this into the side of the green stand, and then you can have that sitting forward as well on the display stand, which is nice. They also come with the 5 pilots. I'm keeping them in here for the time being. I'll have a picture of them together, but there's no sense in really going through it. But like, they're all painted fully. I think they're all cast on this black plastic. So like everything that you see is painted. The orange, green, red, blue, and pink ones. And it's cool that like they included them. A lot of like Voltron companies skip out on them, but they are like an important component, in my opinion, to the set. So I like that they have these a fair bit. You also get these 3 plastic pieces, which I'm guessing are all tools for different means. Like this is kind of Spudger-esque or whatever. This looks kind of almost tweezer, but I don't really know. I don't really know what these 2 do. Gimmicks wise, you can peel this little tab out of there, and there's a button here in the back of the head that will light up the eyes. Same for the blue. Just pull this tab out, and the button is there on the back of the head. The arm bots light up as well. Their battery is right here in the back of the head. It's good access to just take this off, and you sort of sort it out, and then it'll glow. But it doesn't glow really great behind these gold eyes, from what I can tell. All right, so let's start with the blue one. There's die cast in it. It's obviously heavy. There's a glossy finish to it, which reminds me of the SHF. However, I'll say it's a little bit disappointing that it doesn't have some sort of metallic paint finish specifically at the price point. But it is a classic look, so I get that also. There's a sticker, it seems like, here as the 4 as opposed to paint, which is also a bit distressing. We'll go through our articulation as we get into the combine mode, but we have chrome, obviously, legs. And it feels very solid, and the deco works well. And when we get the transformation and all that stuff, we can talk about a lot more of the kind of individual elements. But the leg mode for the blue lion is good enough. Yellow lion, same type of deal. It is at least, once again, at least very clean. Right? Like the deco of it is very clean. All of the colors are clean on it. All the paint apps are cleanly marked. Unfortunately, it is another sticker here for the 5. It is very heavy and seemingly stable enough. Only time will tell, obviously. But, yeah, I mean, we're kind of doing this now, so we don't have to talk about the deco when we get into combine mode. Nice metallic silver paint here and here and here. And then the paint accents are all fairly clean as well. Even that in there, all that looks good. Like I said, we'll talk a little bit more about these as we get to lion mode. I personally think the arms are perhaps even more effective. I just think that they seem, a lot of times the proportions of the arms kind of bother me with Voltrons, but this seems really well done to me. You know, there's also a bit like the elbow won't go the other way. So a little bit of a reminder for a guy like me that's not super familiar with Voltron as to which side they go on. Once again, stickers, but otherwise clean paint. The metallic silver, once again, pops like a cooked kernel, but nothing a whole lot else to report. Same goes for the Red Lion. Very clean. Not as heavy, I should say, as the legs, which is, I think, is the smart move, obviously. 2 is a sticker. This yellow and blue really pops against the red. The construction of it all seems very solid, you know, for the individual components, and nothing really else to report. As for the main body component, it really is the kind of most stunning of them all. I think a large part due to this metallic silver paint. The chrome, both of the gold and the silver and gold, comes through nicely. You know, all of the colors kind of in the chest pop. The proportions are pretty fantastic. You know, it all just sort of works, to be honest with you. This is definitely kind of the most inspiring piece of the 5, and it feels very stable. Like, it feels like a block, like it feels like a parts forming piece almost, and I know it transforms. Now, how it holds up together, only time will tell. We do have to straighten these out for our combined component. It's just easier to keep them tucked in, so to speak, while we look at it. But, you know, we could go through articulation now. It doesn't really make much sense because it's really about how it holds up under weight. So without further ado, let's go ahead and knock that out. All right, so let's get it combined. I'm going to raise the camera up a little bit. We're going to extend this leg. And then, just like the old school, goes down and locks in. And then we're going to extend the other leg. And it goes down and locks in. Green Lion joint. There we go. Red Lion joint. Just plugs right in. There we go. And at least he's somewhat stable at the moment. Let me clean him up. We'll take a look at him. So we'll start with the head. And I really can't tell exactly what's going on here, but it feels like a hinge at the base of the head into the neck, and then it feels like a ball peg from the neck into the chest. As a result, you get probably the most articulated Voltron head, at least that I've ever seen. He can look all the way up like he's flying into, you know, like the classic scene. And you can also get down a good bit. Confused Voltron look. A swivel that goes, you know, to any kind of decent range. So that works fantastic. And of course the deco is beautiful, but we've already kind of talked about that, and we will talk about it a bit more as we get to Lion mode. Shoulders. They are ratcheted out to the side for 90 degrees. There's also an additional joint inside the chest, so you can get the arm all the way up. The bummer is the ratchets themselves are a little bit too wide of toothed, so they don't stay 100% straight. There's a little bit of wobbly, drop it like it's hot going on with it. But the ratchets are well done aside from that. Like, they're nice, clicky, solid ratchets. And then, of course, you get a soft ratchet that goes 360 around until you bump into the wings. Let me back the camera down a little bit. You get a bicep swivel, and you get a double jointed elbow, but it still only gets you 90 degrees. Little bit of a bummer, but whatever. And then the wrist, pretty much just a swivel. And then as far as the hands, I mean, I guess the teeth do open and close, or the jaw for hands. Same for the other side, but while we're here, we have a waist swivel. It's limited, but it should get you everything that you need. And we have a pretty significant ab crunch, which is quite nice. Let me adjust the camera. We'll look at the legs. All right, now we do have some kind of nitty-gritty stuff to get to with these legs, but let's just get through the hips and stuff first, okay? So you have an outward ratchet that doesn't get you the full Monty. It's a nice ratchet, but it gets you more than you'll ever need, and it holds the weight very well. Now, for forward and back motion, the universal's attached to a swiveling joint that drops down. Using that in concert with the ratchet, you can get the leg almost all the way up once again, not the full motion. Once again, more than you'll ever need. Once again, the ratchet holds it very well. And back to a decent degree. Thigh swivel, nice metallic, of course. And then we have the knees, softer ratchets. They get you a nice range, but they don't hold the joint as well. But once again, with the weight of the figure pushing down on it, it should be okay. It's just a little bit weird because they've done such a great job with the ratchets that the knees seem a little off. Now, the balance of this thing, which is where we have to get to the ankle. So let's go through the articulation real quick. You do get an ankle tilt down from the lion's head, right? Up a taste as well, plus the heads on the lions can assist with that. And then you get a rocker both at the swivel joint of the lion, but also where the lion's torso meets the back half of the body. So nice articulation. There are heel spurs underneath, and they are adjustable. Here's the thing. It balances. This is the part that I'm having a hard time articulating. It balances well. It works fine. It just doesn't work as fine as you would expect for the price point. It's not the biggest deal in the world. I am being nitpicky. If this was a $400 to $500 combiner, I wouldn't even mention it. But the fact that it is what it is does require me rather to mention it. However, with that being said, by adjusting the heel spurs and adjusting the lion's paws, sometimes I've even pushed them down, or even forward, and then moving the lion's head in a certain way to get the right sort of plane to operate on, and it will work fine. It's just that in a natural state, there's two things, right? One, you can't get the legs close, like straight together, right? Because of the width of the lion. So you had to start the A stance. Once again, not the biggest deal in the world, just have to mention it. And he has a tendency to kind of not want to be in line to stay balanced, so like once you bend the knees a bit and start to straighten it, like I said, like it's working fine. It's hard to articulate, but having it in hand, there is a little bit of balance that you would rather be a bit more sorted. Nitpicky, but for the price point, I do feel like it needs to be addressed. But like I said, I know I'm being overly critical. But I do think, it's pretty fantastic in spite of that. Like one of the best Voltrons I've ever handled for sure. Size comparison wise, he's a little bit hunched over, but I'd say he stands, about 15 inches, give or take. So, give you an idea. There he is next to Takara's Starscream. And lastly, there it is with the Bandai Solo Chijoken, whatever it's supposed to be. You know the one I'm talking about. There it is with that. That's the one I have. It's the one I'm sticking with. But I do think the Blitzway, like the proportions are so much better. The articulation's better. Like there's a fair amount that's better about the Blitzway. I'm just not a big enough fan to kind of upgrade. I'm pretty happy with the Bandai one. Even like the way they did the heads and stuff, like the Bandai head always bothered me, so to speak. I think the Blitzway one looks a lot better. So then the only other question is, does it fit in a DTOF? And the answer is not really, but as a DTOF displayer, are we going to let that stop us? Perfect. In all honesty, you can get a decent pose in the DTOF and make it not look so forced and cramped. It's really just the red wings that end up putting it beyond the reaches of the DTOF. So rest assured, you can get it to look good. I'm just messing with everybody. Alright, so let's go to cat mode. Open up these panels here. Bring the legs down. I do like that, like the cat parts kind of, are hidden by the green flaps. I hope this is in focus. I got my mask on. And then you got to get this flap back down as well. So just angle the arm out until it clears it, and then it'll go back inside. So same on the other side. It's just a little hard to do under my current circumstances. Get this out. Open up the cat arm, bring it down. You got to move the joint out a bit. Manipulate the joint until you clear the shoulder. And then we'll move on to the rear. So same sort of deal, except these panels are swing out this way. And it's a very like small, you know, thin rather piece of plastic. So I'm just using extra care, which I'm sure Matthew appreciates. Make sure that you have this flap as far out as you can, and then bring the other leg down, and then they will fold back in and collapse. And it's pretty clever, just the way that it all kind of works. You know, it's fairly seamless, right? And then on the back here, you want to open up this panel, pull out the tail, tuck in the combiner joint, and then fold that panel back, and you're ready to go. So the red line's transformation is identical, and since we took a good long bit looking at the green one, we'll look at the red one. Both of them also have the kind of head detaching gimmick, you know, kind of a standard. The jaw opens and closes. You have the laser sort of sculpted in there, and it's all painted with that metallic silver. The chrome looks beautiful. Articulation wise, you just get the swivel at the head. The shoulders, the front shoulders, you get the swivel back and forth, and then a little bit in and out. It's on a ball peg, so you know what I mean, think of it that way. Then you get the kind of elbow, for lack of a better term, that folds all the way up, and then the ankle that's also on a hinge, but also has a swivel. So it's basically like a, I guess that's a ball peg. Let me take a look. Nope, just kind of your classic rocker, which is nice to see. So that works well. On the back here, once again, ball peg, elbow, for lack of a better term. Does it move forward all the way on this one? Just a little troubling. I guess you got to get it here. Yeah, so I guess that's right. I don't know. What am I, Ranger Rick? And then you get the same sort of ankle at the back that has the swivel forward and back and the rocker, and then the tail hinges 1 times, 2 times. As for the abdomen, you get the swivel and you get a curl, and then you get a ab crunch as well inside of the chest. So you should be able to pull all of those elements. And then, of course, he has his kind of secret weapon, you know, in there. We'll look at the green one real quick, just to kind of show off his secret weapon, which is, where is it? How do you get to it? Right here. Swivels up. And then one thing I did forget to mention is that the heads do have articulation up and down. They kind of pull out on this joint and then can go up and down, which I missed on the red one to mention. All right, let's have a look at the yellow one. So we can pull down the front shoulders, easy enough, and they kind of swing out a bit, and then the whole head rocks down. On the back, there is a button here that you release from the combine mode. We'll get these hind legs out, open these up, rock them down, and once again, these are on double hinges, so just angle them in. Uh-oh. Let's just, yeah, try to, yeah, and then push them in. It should work just fine. Same thing on this side. Open up, down, push in, and then you want to close down this piece to cover up the combiner port, and then pull the tail down. So once again, transformation's identical, articulation's identical, so we showed the transformation of the yellow one, so we'll show the articulation of the blue one. Head, you get up and down, you get a swivel. The shoulders are like on double hinges, which gets them out a good bit. You get forward and back, you get an ankle ratcheted, or knee, I guess, and then you get the ankle here, which swivels, and you can get a rocker as well. Same on the other side. On the back, you get the initial hip, which once again is on a series of hinges, and then you get the elbow and the ankle and the rocker. You also get the tail, joint 1, joint 2, and you get a little bit of a waist kind of turn, you know, so you can kind of curl around, which is cool, and you get an ab crunch that's a little, just gotta be careful because I don't want to, there. So that he can sit and stuff, which is cool. And then, of course, this bit flips up. Which means for the yellow one, you get this little kind of angle element too. Now, to go to lion mode for this guy, you want to fold these ears in. But ever since I was a kid, I've always kept them out to make them look like their ears are standing straight up. So don't mind me being nostalgic. And then you fold the face up, and you can bring the legs down like this and turn them around, and then turn the ankle around. Same on the other side. Turn them down, turn the ankle around. Fold out his tail, take the wings on the back and collapse them. Pull out the shoulders. They're on a series of hinges. And then you can open up this flap down here at the bottom. Take the paws, dog paws, flip them out, spin that down, rotate the whole bit around until you have the paw right. And we're going to do this on the other side as well. Pull it out, rotate around, open up your panel here, bring out the paws, dog paws, close it up, and that's basically it. Let's look at it. All right, so articulation wise here, of course we have all of that range of motion that we've already gone over in the head. The jaw opens. I'm not sure if there's a way to hide the face up above, but you can take the whole face off. So I was able to get it. It's just that this is a tight joint, but it will collapse all the way up, typical Voltron style. Let's see, side to side, all that works fantastic. We have the shoulders. The shoulders, you have those double hinges, so you can get them all the way out for a really wide stance. Plus the swivel around, you can collapse them any kind of way as well. Let's see, we have, once again, a knee joint and an ankle joint, both ratcheted, and then a rocker for the ankle. Same for the other side. We have the ab crunch that we had in robot mode, so we should be able to sit. And we have the tail, 1 hinge, 2 hinge. And then we have all the articulation in the hip that we've already talked about, plus the articulation in the lower leg with the knee, ankle, both tilt and rocker. And then of course you can use your wings however you so desire. Really, this one's phenomenally well done articulation wise. And there they are, kind of all together and seated, and they look really good. No issues. So nice job. Final thoughts wise, let's start with the negatives. The biggest one being that there is a bit of a balancing issue. Don't get me wrong, by manipulating the heel spurs and using the lion's front legs, you should be able to get it in a pose that you'd be happy with. As you can see, it will hold one. But there's another issue that plagues this in regard to its balance, and that is the ratchets. While this thing is riddled with them, and they are really high quality ratchets, they're also oftentimes a bit too wide toothed, so to speak. And as a result, you'll often find that you need a middle ground between the notches to kind of assist you a bit with balancing this guy. And I wish that was where it stopped, but it doesn't. Got another issue, and that's that some of the joints are a bit ungodly tight. The hips being the prime example, but they're not the only ones. To go along with that, there are some QC issues. His green lion has a foot that wants to come loose all the time. It's not the biggest deal to put it back in place, and it's no big deal in combined mode, but in lion mode, it wants to get itself free more often than not. The articulation is all there, but for the price point, you kind of wish it had a little bit more. Fuller ranged elbows, full waist swivel. Like I said, it's everything that you need, but maybe not everything that you want in regards to that. And then the last thing that I have is the paint deco. It's fully painted and it is beautiful, but I'm not sure if a deeper, richer metallic paint wouldn't have looked a bit more premium, once again, specifically for the price point. Positives wise, I love the display base. I love how it's utilized. I love how it stores all the accessories and still looks clean. I love that the lions can be integrated into it. I love the lions themselves. I love all of the kind of abdominal articulation that the lions have. I love that they all have ankle rockers and you can get a lot of character out of them. I also love a lot of the engineering, a lot of the flaps that flip up and out of the way that really compose the robot pieces and kind of hide the lion legs and stuff. Really clever stuff. The sculpt is absolutely beautiful, and the proportions are fantastic. There's a ton of chrome work, and it's all done really well, and integrating the lions into the combine mode is done effortlessly and securely. Never had an issue with any of the limbs wanting to get free or pop loose or any of that business. So is it a recommend? I don't know, man. I can't call this one. It's too close. If you're just gonna display it kind of stoically and get it to stand in one place and sort of be done with it, I think it's probably the best looking Voltron that I've ever seen or handled. I also love all the die cast. I want to mention that as well. And the die cast really doesn't impact the balance. The balance is a totally different issue. Fan Story should be paying attention here. But it's beautiful. But for the price point, you just wish it was made of a little bit more sterner stuff. And I don't mean that in regards to materials, because the materials are great. I mean it in regard to the build. That's the biggest issue here, is that the ratchets need to be a little tighter and the balance needs to be sorted out just a little bit more. If you can handle that, I think you'll be happy with it. If not, I mean, look, they're not going to stop making Voltron, so there's probably another one around the corner within a couple years. But this is a good one. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.